All right, it's time to go over the San Francisco 49ers and tell you what I believe they could provide for your fantasy team, what type of production they can give you. And I think overall the 49ers is a good team to target in fantasy football. There's a lot of options that we have on this roster that can help you provide some stability within your fantasy lineups and overall help you, achieve that championship goal, right? Looking at the depth chart, just at the quarterback position, we're looking here, Brock Purdy and Joshua Dobbs. Now, these are two quarterbacks that I can see, okay, they can both provide some type of fantasy relevance in fantasy football. Brock Purdy definitely, but if God forbid he goes down, Joshua Dobbs, we've seen he can come in and give you a little bit of fantasy relevance, has those spike weeks as well. But if we just focus on Brock Purdy, yes, he's a consistent type of quarterback. He's got a lot of weapons around him and able to consistently drop the ball off to each of his receivers. As we know, he can give you some decent numbers, not top flight type of numbers, but can give you some numbers that can be fantasy valuable for you. If you go very, very late quarterback into your drafts, Brock Purdy's a good option, especially if you grab one of these other guys like a Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, one of these guys earlier in your draft. You can tag it up, stack him up with a Brock Purdy and be pretty good throughout the fantasy football season. Again, Brock Purdy, definitely somebody I would recommend for you to draft if you're going late quarterback in the NFL or in your NFL drafts. Let's just go look over the running back position. We already know here, Christian McCaffrey is the man. Elijah Mitchell's the other running back in this offense. They got the rookie Isaiah Guerrero, the nice athletic freak there, and then Patrick Taylor as well. But we all know Christian McCaffrey is the man. He is the workhorse in this offense. Nobody else is getting many touches to be any fantasy relevant. Elijah Mitchell, some people like to draft this guy as a handcuff. I don't know. Isaac Guerrero, a lot of people are saying, oh, he could be the next. He's just a freak athlete. Nothing really to show on film for me that he can see and take any type of touches away from anybody, let alone Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's the one-on-one in every draft you can think of. I don't care if you're in a dynasty startup. I don't think if you're in a redraft, keeper league, best ball league, doesn't matter. Christian McCaffrey's the one-on-one in every league he goes. As long as he stays healthy, he will by far score more points than anybody else in the NFL. He can do everything, whether it's running the ball, whether it's receiving the ball. He's everything, right? So no more analysis needed really for Christian McCaffrey. He's going to provide some top-notch numbers for you. Now, the wide receiver position, this is where we have to go over. Let's look at the depth chart real quick here. Where you have Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, the rookie Ricky Pearsall coming out of the University of Florida, really liking him. Juwan Jennings, he just got his new contract signing, his new extension. Jacob Cowing and Ronnie Bell. So what I want to talk about is, let's say, does the extension for Juwan Jennings mean the end of either Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel? As the recording of this video, everybody is still on the roster. Trade deadline's not there, or trade has an opening. None of that happened as of right now. So we have to see what happens with this offense. But I think signing of Juwan Jennings, I thought they was going to let him go. They're not going to let him go. So I don't know if they're going to keep everybody. If so, why do they draft two wide receivers? Why do they draft Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing? Don't really make sense to me. They're probably going to let go either Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel. My guess would be Brandon Ayuk, but we're going to have to wait and see. But in fantasy football, as long as the roster stays what it is right now, I would recommend you getting Brandon Ayuk. I would recommend you getting Deebo Samuel. Stay away from Ricky Pearsall unless you're in a dynasty league. I wouldn't worry about Jacob Cowing. Juwan Jennings, he's not very fantasy relevant. He doesn't have a lot of opportunities, and I think Ricky Pearsall is going to overtake Juwan Jennings for most of his snaps. So I would just stay away from all these guys. But if you're in a regular redraft league, I think Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel is the people you want to target. Let's go back over to the depth chart. Check out these tight ends. We already know it's George Kittle, and we got Braden Willis as well. So just one of those things, right? We know George Kittle, what he can give you, right? He gives you those boom games, right? He gives you a decent floor as well. He doesn't really go completely absent. My biggest thing was Kittle is his injury history, right? He's always going to miss a few games in the season. That's just what George Kittle does. But when he's on the field and he's healthy, he's able to provide a nice baseline for you. He's one of the top tight ends in fantasy football, and he's consistently doing that week in and week out. But guys, that is just the overview for the San Francisco 49ers. Just wanted to talk a little bit about who I believe is fantasy relevant. We're going to do one for each and every team throughout this entire offseason, kind of breaking down things for you guys. Make sure you guys are hitting the subscribe button. Make sure you're hitting the like button and leave a comment down below. Who is your favorite San Francisco 49er to have in fantasy football? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.